I need a safe space. So sometimes these women doesn't have choices. They have to do these things against their will. I think they're violating the human rights. Women never had a voice. So I think from my side, as an Islamic woman, we need to lobby, advocate, being transparent, and bold to transform these women. We need to tell our Islamic women, you know, I actually ask myself, where do I fit in society as an Islamic woman by making a difference in my sisterhood's life? You know, it's for a few years that I thought Islamic is being left out by abuse. I think it was normal. I think it was okay also. You know, the night that my husband put me a light in front of my children, I told myself, I will never let my children go through this drama and process again. But it was only for me to go sign that restraining order. It took guts. You know, if you make dua and people told you, especially your in-laws, they like to tell you, sabr, that word, I came to hate that word. Seriously. Because people use that word in a way to cover up my abuse. How can I sabr and the men give me every weekend a new blue eye? You cannot use the word sabr in abuse. Never. Let me tell you that is my painful experience. And when it comes to, especially for us as women who embrace Islam, it's critical for us because we're still dealing with learning the deen. It's such a beautiful religion. The beauty of the religion, we accept that first. And you know, the painful thing is, your in-laws, sometimes they are not good examples. Sometimes they just want to dump these children on you, really. Especially as they know these children are really wrong what they're doing when they're using these verses of the Quran. People, I just want to tell you today, we as the people inside in this building today should make a difference. Even if it's a petition, a march, even if we have our own radio station where we could say, no, it's not right for Islamic women to go through this. I thank you.
I see clients on a daily basis. And what I've discovered with many of my clients, apart from the fact that they come in for counseling for the initial abuse, there's also secondary abuse with almost all of them that they have been suffering. And for me, that is the saddest part. That we trying to, like Fatma said, which we will never, with all due respect, Fatma, never eradicate gender-based violence, but we're trying to strive towards a society free of domestic violence and abuse. But yet, there's still the secondary abuse that women have to suffer. And for me, that's the saddest part. And I just want to share a case with you that I had just over a year ago. A young 26-year-old female that's been to several other organizations for assistance. She is from the Wynberg area. She's a 26-year-old. She had 2 kids, or she has 2 children, a little boy and a girl about 5 and 6 years old, just a year apart. And with this case, you know, I still see this young woman walking around, roaming around, in fact, the streets of Wynberg, because she's even worse off now than what she was a year ago when I saw her. And I had to battle with myself for a long time because I felt that I had failed this woman, that I didn't do enough to try and help her. So she came into the center one day. For those of you who don't know, we also have a sexual and reproductive clinic that we run from our center. And one of the services that we provide in that clinic is termination of pregnancy. So she came in there 6 weeks pregnant, wanting the termination of pregnancy, but also not sure that is what she needs to do. She came there, and as I spoke to her, you know, she just opened up. And I was amazed at how vulnerable this woman was, that she needed somebody to just open up, to just let everything out. And she started by telling me that she was in an abusive marriage. after a few months, she couldn't handle it anymore, and she went to her parents, she went to his parents, and they just kept on sending her back. They just kept on sending her back home to the abusive husband, telling her to sabr, because she's a Muslim woman, she must be unadanah, and you know, that she needs to, things will get right, and so on. Eventually, you know, I think it just got too much for her, and she turned to drugs. And you know, we all deal with things and handle things in a different way, and I think that for her was a way out. So she turned to drugs, and her family actually made her believe that because of that she's using drugs, that she's now a drug addict, that's the reason why her husband was abusing her. So the family, the relationship with the family completely disintegrated. The family took the 2 kids away from her. So the relationship with the children was broken down. She then went to social services, she went to different organizations in the area for assistance. Everybody just kept on turning her away. Then eventually when she ended up with me, I referred her to the drug rehab. She went for a while, she then relapsed. I referred her again back to social services in terms of the children, and then also to the shelter, where she was also turned away because of, we all know there's a lack of shelters in the Western Cape. So we can see in this one client how many secondary abuses she had to go through. And eventually when she got to me, this woman was so down and out, she didn't know which way to go anymore. She was pregnant from a drug addict boyfriend as well, who was also then abusing her. So this woman had nowhere to go to. She felt that she was at the end of the road. And even after all the reports I made with her, and all the time that I spent with her, she's now today roaming the streets of Marlborough. So for me, that is the saddest part, that a woman, you know, wanting help, coming to you seeking help, and yet there isn't enough resources out there for these women. So yes, Aisha, I agree with you totally that I'm also tired. One of, like I said, one of the other portfolios, I also collect stats every month and write reports. And it's okay to do that every month. It's okay to write on that report, a nice report to funders so that you can get funding to do more work. But at the end of the day, are we really helping these women? Are we really putting that money to good use? And for me, that is the saddest part, and that is motivation that we need to do more.
I used to work for an organization called RAPCAN, and RAPCAN stands for Resources Aimed at the Prevention of Child Abuse and Neglect. And in this, I inevitably, even though we were focused on the child, I inevitably came across many women who were abused. And that's one organization that is now in its 23rd, 25th year of existence. Mosaic is, how long? 17 years in existence. There's a group called IRFSA, Islamic Resource Foundation of South Africa, that has a women's shelter for Muslim women specifically. If I look at the turnover rate at that particular shelter, they allow people to have a temporary stay of 2 weeks initially. If people need, the person and the family needs a longer stay, 3 months, 6 month extension. After that 6 months, the person has to. If you look at the 6 month turnover rate, they have on average and yeah, I'm trying to give you the statistics to show you the extent of it, and this is only one part of it. We haven't heard the other gender-based violence statistics. It's a bit more difficult to come by like that. But at that particular shelter, they have an average of 45 to 50 people turning over. You know, that is at least, if you take 2 children per mother, you can think of the numbers of women that comes in there on a daily basis. That's a small shelter. The bigger one at Sarah Bartman Center even has a house now, has a permanent house, because they their program has developed to the extent where the empowerment of women goes where you can, for a year to 3 years, you can stay there.